Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow Zenless Zone Zero enjoyers, lovers, glazers, and players. Welcome back to another reactionary video content video. We are here finally because the drip marketing for Aglaea, however the fuck you want to say her name, has started. So, we might go over, I think, slight spoilers for the campaign if you're not caught up. I would maybe shy away from this video. But this is following the Herda, so if you've seen my other reactionary video content series on the other characters, aka the Herda before this is where I kind of switched my mind about the Herda, and I still haven't rolled for her, so that series is still technically not closed. We haven't finished the last chapter of the Herda's story, but we're going to be starting Aglaea's story too. Not in game, obviously, just on my reactions, but this is where I would say Aglaea is very interesting. So, for those of you who don't know, she's the first Remembrance 5-star limited character in the game, and if you did play the story, you'll notice that we get to play as her for a very, very short amount of time. Now, this is where, and this is gonna maybe go into a whole big other topic with Star Rail, but I'm really sad that we don't get to play as Aglaea more. This is where, just playing as her at all is really great. And it wouldn't be a Chrysalis video if we didn't talk about Genshin here. In Genshin, they really don't give you this opportunity much, if at all. Most of the time in other gachas, they let you use the characters that are in the story at that point in the story, and they kind of give you a nice little taste aside from the little kind of demo they give you when the character's actually out. They let you use the character beforehand and they tease you with it. And this is what Star Rail does as well, although not in great effect. I think even Zenless does this a lot better, and it should because it's the most recent. But Star Rail does it a little bit. I don't think Genshin doesn't really at all. But I wish we got to use Aglaea even more. We basically use her for like 3 combats, and that's basically it. But of those 3 combats, we get to see a little bit. Now, obviously, Hoyo does the same thing they always do with most of the early characters. They did the same thing in Penacony, where they showed us Venturine early, but we really didn't know too many details. Now, obviously, if you look up leaks, if you look up the test server, you'll know a lot about Aglaea. And also, they revealed most of her kit on the live stream already with the special program. So I do have some knowledge on Aglaea, but this keeping up with Star Rail is really going to help me nail some things down because I'm stupid and sometimes I don't understand their kits. But either way, this is where Aglaea is the first Remembrance character. She summons the Garment Maker, and her whole gimmick is speed. Now, as always, how am I going to rate these characters? How am I going to rate Aglaea? On 4 categories, the 4th one being secret. So technically 3, 4th one being not something I like to advertise too much, but we do it every one, so why not? First one is meta gameplay. I ironically enough really like the whole idea of Remembrance. I think Remembrance is a really cool concept. I think the Remembrance it's basically a summons class, and people called this really early on. They called the summons class a lot, and it came true. And I also do have Sunday, so I am basically primed for Aglaea. Now, the main thing I don't understand with Aglaea is how the fuck she's lightning and not imaginary. When you look at her, which goes into her looks here, when you look at her, you're gonna think imaginary because she's golden yellow. It's like, what the fuck? But regardless, her looks are amazing. I think she's one of the hottest fucking characters in the game, just look-wise. She's up there in terms of, like, beauty with Black Swan and I don't want to say Fei Xiao because Fei Xiao is different. I like my thick mommy woman, and she is definitely mommy. Because going into her lore is pretty good. So far, and this is kind of like a little zoomed out version of Amphorius, I think Amphorius so far is decent. It's fucking long, like it felt decently long. And the main thing that people are complaining about, and this kind of goes into, why didn't they let us use Aglaea more? Now that Genshin is basically on the chopping block because they made everyone angry because their game is terrible in more ways I want to describe here, now they're setting their sights on Star Rail because there's other gachas coming out. Obviously, Zenless is the most recent one, but other gachas as well, like Wuthering, their main competition, where they're doing things so much better. And the major thing I'm hearing from Star Rail is the poses the characters do, the animations are really cheap and really lazy. And sadly, I do have to agree. Now, that's one of the best problems to have. It is a problem, it is something that can be improved, but at least we don't have a problem with our weapon banner being really, really greedy like Genshin's is, so we gotta take our blessings where we have them. Although we can be overly critical of the game, but regardless, this is where I think lore-wise, I don't know how we got to that from lore-wise, but lore-wise, I think Aglaea is really, really good. Again, slight spoilers for the story, but she's basically the mommy of the whole Amphorius region so far. There's a lot of dark undertones with her, and she definitely had me for a tizzy in the story too. I really like her lore. I love her accent too in the English dub, but sadly the other voices aren't there too, so I have to play in Japanese sometimes. But I think Aglaea is really cool as a character. I don't think there's much more that she can offer me that I'll really be interested. I think she's good, not great, not amazing. I definitely think she's above par. Look-wise, again, she's beautiful. Gameplay-wise, I really, really love summon classes. I think Aglaea, and you know, this is kind of where it goes into the meta part again. Aglaea is gonna have a hard time because she is the first Remembrance character to come out, and I kind of almost take it like a Zealous situation. She looks decent, she looks good, and obviously she's gonna be good on release. But the main thing that her gimmick is stacking speed, having her and the Garment Maker go a lot. But I don't know if there's going to be longevity to her because every character in Star Rail, you know, whether it be a long time or a little time, eventually gets power crept. Aglaea is going to be no different, and I think as the first Remembrance character, it's going to come probably sooner rather than later. So it's really going to suck how fast she's going to get power crept. But regardless, the fourth secret category, which we always go into, is the competition. What is Aglaea competing against? Obviously, right now, the current banner is the Herda. And this is where it really, you know, it's not as bad as Genshin's banners, thank God, with Malvika that just passed. But I believe that Aglaea's going to have a hard time. If you're skipping Herda, if you don't care about Erudition, I think Aglaea's an easy pickup, especially if you have Sunday. Basically, Sunday's made for her, right? She's the first Remembrance. And obviously, Remembrance Trailblazer is going to work wonders with her. But this is where I think the Herda is such a good pickup. She's almost like Acheron level tier of like how much people would like need to get her because she's just so fucking good and so easy to build. She's like Firefly levels easy to build mixed with Acheron levels of damage. It is bonkers how good the Herda is. And because of that, I haven't seen guides about Aglaea yet, but I feel like it's going to be such hard fucking competition. But either way, I've yapped on long enough, for 7 minutes actually, literally almost the time of the video, as I usually do. Let's actually check out her kit, see what's going on, and see if she's going to be as good as I think. Again, the main thing I'm thinking is like the Garment Maker is just going to attack like crazy. I just don't know how crazy the damage numbers are going to be, but in the stuff I have seen so far, and you know, take it with a grain of salt, right? Because all these content creators, they do clickbait. All the stuff I'm seeing is like, wow, Aglaea's crazy, oh my god, crazy DPS. But let's see what she actually does here. Let's take a look. And obviously I'm going to love all the little mini themes too. Albert. Ooh. Look at her. Look at her. Romance. I want to romance her. Look at that. Look at her chest. My god.
Reclaim the divine fire and breathe new life into the dying land of Amphorius.
She loves Amphorius so much.
Let's catch up with the artist who weaves destiny, Aglaea, Weaver of Gold.
That subtitle like wasn't even fitting on the screen. Oh, it's Tribby.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. Sunny days, rainy days, snowy days. Good.
You know what's so funny about this too? Only the and again, slight story spoilers here, right? The Chrysosairs are the only ones who know Amphorius isn't isolated. Like, there's other worlds out there, but they're trying to keep it secret. And, like, Tribby seems really nice in this story, but I'm curious, like, how they're going to make... And, you know, obviously don't take it too lore serious, but how the fuck are they going to make sense of this with Albert interviewing them? They're not supposed to be anywhere near him. Or at least with the other characters, you could kind of BS it.
Head, good legs, good body.
What the fuck?
Okay.
I love Tribby so much.
Kids. If you don't got
They're not
trouble,
kids.
I can eat you a lollipop later.
They're
He
hundreds of years
seriously thinks we're
old.
kids, doesn't he? Should we remind him?
Hee
This
hee.
isn't the first time.
The blind Tribby is just tired.
First time hosting from Amphorius. Don't ruin the illusion for him.
I like how the one on the right is agreeing.
Grown-ups are all about saving face. Let's just humor him.
Wow.
One lollipop not enough.
He needs 3.
How about 2?
Imagine they sold all of them.
Best.
All. Wait, the one on the left fell asleep.
Wow. Who knew I had had such a gift for handling kids.
I feel so bad for Albert.
All right,
I think this is the first time we
let's
really
dive
see
into
his whole
today's
body
topic.
like that too. He's usually behind a
Aglaea is a
desk.
lightning character on the path of remembrance. As the current leader of the
No
Chrysos
clue how
End,
she's
she is
lightning.
still a dress master working in
That
harmony with
looks
her
like
metal strike,
imaginary.
Garment Maker. Using elegant and swift swordplay, she cuts the threads of fate of any who stand in her way, just as if
She's
she
so
were tailoring
fucking
fine
hot.
clothes.
She's so fucking hot.
Aggie comes from a noble family and has been rigorously trained in court swordplay since
Court
childhood.
swordplay. I
She's
think
like
that shit's
Miss
such a
Fighting,
joke.
But if you challenge her, he'll only be asking for
He knows how to
trouble.
fence.
Aw, Treeby, that's not polite. You should address her properly as Sister Aglaea.
Aglaea
That's right,
One-san.
Treeby. Show some manners.
Ooh.
No way. She's just Aggie to me, and that's final.
This is so stupid.
It is.
See, I love the little
when
plots
Aglaea
they
uses her
have.
basic attack, it deals lightning damage
Thorned
to one
Nectar.
enemy. Using her skill, Aglaea summons her mannequin
The basic
lookalike,
is so
a
simple,
memo
I
sprite
love it.
called Garment Maker, and immediately
Like, they
takes
have to
action.
say it, but they just move past
Garment
it.
Maker is already on the field.
So, you know what's curious? They're not explaining how the whole remembrance path works. Like, they're not really... Well, they might explain. I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but... Remembrance, it's not too complicated if you're an actual gamer, but basically, I wonder if they're going to go into the fact that, like, oh, it has its own skill, its own passive, and if it dies, it gives energy back, or whatever, it does something if it gets back. I'm really curious if they're going to mention that.
Using her skill will heal it. When Garment Maker is summoned, its action immediately advances. And
So it
when taking
immediately
action, it
goes.
attacks automatically. It deals lightning damage to one enemy and adjacent
So it's
targets.
blast.
While Garment Maker is on the field, Aglaea's attacks can cause targets to be inflicted with the seam stitch state. When Aglaea attacks a
Ooh.
target in this state, she
I'm
deals
just saying that
additional
3 times
damage.
fast.
Additionally, Garment Maker will prioritize attacking enemies with seam stitch. After attacking such targets, Garment Maker gains increased speed up to a limit. Using her
6
speed,
times.
Aglaea summons Garment Maker to charge forward with her. She and Garment Maker then enter
I
battle
really
together.
like the fact that they're so, like,
After entering
coordinated.
battle, Aglaea regenerates a certain amount of energy, applies the seam stitch state to a random enemy, and deals lightning damage to all enemies.
AoE.
After unlocking the trace the speeding saw, at the start of battle, Aglaea regenerates energy if her energy is below a certain threshold.
Oh, that's pretty good. It's
Despite
kind of
her
similar to
focus on
Firefly.
efficiency in battle, Aggie never sacrifices the beauty of combat.
That is so silly to me. She
So
needs to
many
look
years have
beautiful.
passed,
Look at
yet
that
her
jiggle.
habits remain unchanged.
Would you look at that? Little Troopy pretending to be all grown up. Actually pulls it off pretty convincingly.
Who says I'm pretending?
When using her
Ooh.
ultimate, this artist and her partner perform a magnificent yet deadly waltz.
This shit almost reminds me of, like,
Aglaea
Kafka
summons
shit.
Garment Maker and enters her supreme
Oh yeah,
stance.
titty sword. Ball titty
Immediately
sword.
takes action. In
Hacker
this
on
state,
titty
her
sword.
Basic attack becomes enhanced. Together with Garment Maker, Aglaea launches a joint attack based on both their attack, dealing
Ooh.
lightning damage separately to one
Actually, you know who that
individual
reminds me
enemy
of more?
and
I'm fucking
adjacent
stupid. That's
targets.
Ka-Ching.
While in the supreme stance
literally
state,
Ka-Ching.
Aglaea gains speed boosting stacks through her Memo Sprite's talent, which further increases her speed.
Ridiculous.
Additionally, Garment Maker becomes immune to crowd
I
control.
wish they would
debuffs.
show us, like,
After unlocking the
how
trace
much
the
speed
Myopics
this
do,
really, like,
Aglaea
gets
and
to.
Garment Maker's attack increases while in supreme stance state, scaling based on their combined speed.
Her
After
speed must
using
be
her
so
ultimate,
fucking
a
high.
countdown appears in the action order. When the countdown ends, Garment
She exit
Maker
the stage.
self-destructs.
Wait,
and supreme
what?
Stance is dispelled.
Oh my god, it
Okay,
dies?
let's sum it up. Aglaea and Garment
Didn't
Maker
know
work
that.
in
Holy
perfect
shit.
harmony. By attacking the same target as Aglaea, Garment Maker gains increased stackable speed. The faster
And it doesn't
Garment Maker's
lose it
speed
until it
gets,
dies,
the
I
faster
think.
Aglaea's speed becomes in supreme stance state. In this state,
So, one thing that's important, and I don't know if this works both ways, and I'm sad if they don't really specify it here. Any stats that the summoner has, the summon gets, right? So if Aglaea starts with 150 speed, Garment Maker has 150 speed. Now, I'm curious to see if you buff Garment Maker, does Aglaea get the buff too? I don't think so once it's on the field. Now, obviously, I don't think that really matters here because I think the kit just gives them both the speed, or maybe just her. I don't know if you buff her and then the Garment Maker gets it while it's out. I know when you summon it, it's going to get whatever her stats are at the time, but I really wish they went over things like this.
Aglaea and Garment Maker's speed boost their attack, allowing them to unleash devastating enhanced basic attacks to dominate the battlefield.
Phew, what a long summary.
It really wasn't that
To
long.
Master Treeby. The summary of the summary is...
Huh. The one on the left is still sleeping.
Aggie, we're instantly friends.
Huh.
It seems like not everybody wants to, huh?
And they're big bad guys. Don't lose, Aggie.
Oh my god. Oh my god, did they hit the one on the left?
Now we see. Aglaea begins by activating her skill.
Without her
Summoning
skill,
Power
she's
Meter.
basically
She
a
calls up enemy and takes
non-character.
action, using her basic attack to apply Seam Stitch to the troublemaker on the enemy team.
The
Troublemaker attacks
troublemaker.
next, prioritizing the enemies with Seam Stitch, gaining a speed boost in the process. The enemy counters and the fight intensifies. With her energy full, Aglaea activates her ultimate, entering the supreme stance.
So she has 2 stacks right now. Let's see how many she gets from
Speed
this.
increases from the Memo Sprite's talent, further boosting her and Garment Maker's attack.
So she still has
This attack
2.
transforms into the more threatening slash by 1,000-fold kiss.
Their dance looks so hot. So it's only 1 stack.
With another
Okay.
attack from Garment Maker, only 1 enemy remains. Thanks to their repeated attacks on the enemy with Seam Stitch, Aglaea and Garment Maker's speed now outpaces the enemy.
Ridiculous.
Before the enemy can even react, they fall under her blade.
Jesus
And
Christ, did she attack
a wrap.
4 times before it even did anything?
Wow, Albie's That's a Rap had some real punch to it. Young people, huh? Energetic.
You're still young. You'll never understand the misery of unpaid overtime.
That is one of the worst things ever.
What's this? Teacher, if you're done pretending to be a child, please come to Memorial
Oh, that's from
Palace.
Aglaea.
We have important matters to discuss. Yours
Oh.
faithfully, Aglaea.
Oh no, I'm not done playing yet.
Oh my
Aggie
god.
sure knows how to boss people
I
around.
love the one on the
Who's
left.
other
It's so
hero? Wait,
funny.
Say something too, Treenan. Are we calling it a day?
The voice actor had to
Wait a
fucking
minute.
put in triple the work.
You're really her elders.
The jig is up. But don't forget, you still owe us lollipops.
Yeah, don't worry, they're over
Wait,
500 years old. Oh, you sickos
I
out there.
apologize for my lack of manners.
Thank
Go
God
make a
they're
pot of tea
nice.
For the 3 of you.
A pot of
Nope, we
tea?
want lollipops. They can't be reasoned with.
It's so good, man. Okay, so not bad. So again, I still have a lot of questions about Aglaea. So her kit is very, very simple, right? And I kind of assumed there was a little bit more. The only thing I didn't know was after the fucking memo keeper blows up. But the main thing is, and I also didn't mention this before, right? But I don't really know who. Oh, wait, no, I know who's coming after. I'm fucking stupid. Ironically enough, the person coming after Aglaea, I don't know the second phase of it, but one of the phases is actually Tribby. So Tribby's gonna be a Harmony, which is curious, like very, very curious to me because we already just got Sunday. Harmonies don't come out too often. So the fact that Tribby's coming out, I'm assuming she's probably gonna be really niche or really for the future, but we gotta see. I'm assuming Tribby's gonna be for buffing, but again, we gotta see. But yeah, no, Aglaea is kind of a rock and a hard place. The main thing I don't think I personally like, and again, I have to see this myself, is I can't expect her to do nuke damage. Because if she's going to be going as much as she is, because it seems like at least her memo keeper, right? Her memo sprite. If it's going to be going like 5 fucking times before the enemy can act once, there's no way it's going to be doing nuke damage. And it almost kind of reminds me of Fei Xiao. Because Fei Xiao basically is the follow-up attacker, but she goes often before the enemy does. However, her damage isn't like nuke damage, but it adds up to being good damage after everything's said and done. And if Aglaea's like that, I don't know if I'll personally like it. I do like the idea that it's done for me with the Memo Keeper, but overall, I like big nuke damage, which is something Acheron does, which is something the Herda does, and Dot is the one exception. I love Dot too. Aglaea is in such a weird place, and sadly enough, because I'm basically going to try and go in on the Herda, but you know, we'll see ultimately what happens this weekend. I don't think I'm going to have much for Aglaea in terms of just resources, because I do want to save for the future, because again, Tribby coming out, huge fucking deterrent for Aglaea, because again, Harmonies run the game. So I think Aglaea's in a really tough spot. Kit-wise, I don't know if she's going to be crazy, because if she's doing nuke damage and going like 4 times, it's just going to be OP and ridiculous. But, you know, I'm assuming it can't be nuke-like damage. It might add up to good damage, but it can't be nuke damage. But again, the game is getting power creeped, and that's one of the other major issues happening right now with Star Realm. Aside from them complaining about the models and only having like 3 poses in the campaign, they're also complaining at the fact that there's major health creep in the late game activities. And they're not wrong. And the game is kind of really hardcore power creeping, where if you don't have the current day characters, and this is weird because some people, even with Zila, still can do the game, but they can still do the game in the late game with all these activities because of the current day supports. So it's kind of a little bit of a moot argument. There is a little bit of a power creep issue in Star Rail, just health wise. I think it's, if you say there isn't, it's, you know, you're just logically wrong. But I don't know if it's too much of an issue. You just really got to have your characters on fleek. But it really depends. Either way though, in terms of just keeping it centered to Aglaea, because we're kind of all over the place in this video as usual, it's gonna be hard. I do want to get her if I can get her on a discount. So maybe 30 rolls, I'm thinking. I don't think I'll do more. I think she's gonna sadly have to be one of the people I maybe skip. Because again, before her is the Herda, which is amazing, and after is gonna be Tribby, which is a Harmony. So we really need to keep our eyes out. It's gonna obviously evolve as things come out, especially for Tribby. But so far, Aglaea looks simple. And again, if you like her, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think she's gonna be pretty decent. And again, probably really good actually. But I just don't think she's gonna have longevity, especially with the further people coming out later down the line, especially in like the mid to end Amphorius. I think of all the characters you could probably skip, it probably is gonna be her. Especially if you don't have Sunday. If you have Sunday, I think she's a good pickup. But I think Sunday is again gonna be used with a lot more Remembrance people. But the question is, how often are they gonna release Remembrance? I don't know. Either way, Aglaea's in a really tough spot. I think 30 at most, if not maybe a little bit more, probably a little bit less. We'll see though. Either way, Aglaea is still pretty good in all other aspects. It's just everything else around her is just so fucking hard, man. It's really tragic. Either way, I hope everyone enjoyed my 21-minute long fucking yapping, triple the size of the video here. And if you want to see more of it, you can come to Twitch TV/Technics channel. Eee!